Hello there, and welcome to episode 6 of my quick tutorial series for Dwarf Fortress. In this episode, we're going to cover the topic of livestock. We're going to go over zoning, processing the items that they produce, and also how to keep the numbers in check and with the help of the DF hack tool. There's a couple of things in between, and if you are new to the series, there is a playlist link down below leading to the entirety of the playlist for all the Dwarf Fortress needs of yours. Now, first up, let's take a look at our livestock. You can find them in this tab here. These are all the livestock that are currently in your fortress. Dwarf Fortress has two types of livestock in general: grazing animals and non-grazing animals. Non-grazing animals can be held wherever you want. They will never die because they technically don't need food or drink. It's weird like that, but it is what it is. Grazing animals, on the other hand, need to be outside on grass. Or later, when you have uncovered the caverns, you can also feed them on cave lichen, so you can do underground pastures. I'll be explaining that in more detail in the episode that covers the topic of the caverns. For today, we're going to get started with a pen and pasture zone. This is basically your parking lot for your animals. If you don't set this up though, your grazing animals will die. So you need it larger or smaller depending on the amount of elephants in your fortress. Jokes aside, if a zone like this will keep a lot of animals alive, and you'll really need big animals to change that. Here again, the details make it insufferable. It really depends on your biome, how quick things grow there and whatnot, but I've made the experience the pen pasture of this size has gotten me through pretty much everything. So, click the bunny and select the animals that are supposed to be put there. In my fortresses, I always have everything on the pasture except for the dogs and the cats. The dogs can also be trained. You need an animal training zone. And then you just need to click here next to the dogs to put them into war training. Here, there it is. War training. If you put this on, the dogs will transform into a variant which lets them attack hostile creatures immediately, and hunting training brings them into a form where they go suiciding on the animals in your biome. Jokes aside, these two forms are putting the dogs into combat form, basically, and this can be applied to various other livestock. I'll keep it simple at this end because I want to do another episode in the future about animal training and breeding. So if you find these topics here a little bit lacking, that's because I'm not going deeper into this venue. We're focusing here onto the basics of livestock. I'm very sorry about that, but here goes the next part. So these animals that we got all can be harvested, or most of them can be harvested at the farmer's workshop. We can here milk our animals, we can here shear animals, and we can spin thread. So the process chain, I usually let them run over here by pressing O to get in the general orders menu, or you go over here via this one. And here I select the farmer's workshop, and we're going to go for milk animal, shear animal, and spin thread. So these three jobs are now going to be changed from a one-time order by clicking on the clock to a daily order. So each day now we're going to try to shear our animals, and let's see here, this one, the spin thread, I configure differently. I tell it whenever we have more than one unrodden hair or wool body part, go for it, tiger. So that's basically a configuration that makes sure that we're doing everything each and every day. You can increase the number of jobs here to make sure that once you have a ginormous army of animals, it'll get done still, but that's pretty much all that is there to it. What we also need is, on this end, a weaver a loom. So at a loom, we can, oopsie, wrong buttons. At a loom, we can use the wool that we get from the animals after spinning it into thread. Here we can then weave the yarn into cloth. Now this is the next job. So once you have animal yarn, it'll be woven here into cloth. To show you what the difference is here, get back to the automatic work menu and get here into the clothier's workshop. There's cloth. This is plant fiber clothing. There's silk. It's pretty obvious. And there's yarn. Yarn is basically every form of animal wool that you are manufacturing. And with this cycle, we have everything up and running to get the industries going. As you can see here now, things are going to be assigned automatically. Milking animals always requires buckets. So here's one deal though, I really gotta point it out. If you don't plan on using the milk, you might as well delete it. Here's a simple thing. Milk does bring up buckets, and if it doesn't get used up, it'll fill up the buckets. Then you need to produce more buckets, which then will get filled with more milk. Eventually you will get an arms race between your cows and your bucket makers. In a nutshell, if you are producing something that goes into a container, better make sure that you are emptying these containers from time to time, or you will find yourself in an endless hallway of buckets of milk. Milk can be processed in the kitchen as direct ingredient for food, or we can put it into a cheese press and make cheese out of it, or basically here in the farmer's workshop can be processed into cheese. This is also a way to transform milk into pretty valuable goods, so the choice is up to you. Now, once your animals are living a while up here on these pastures, they will start reproducing. So DFHack gives us a wonderful tool to keep this whole situation under control, because without DFHack, I don't know how to keep it under control without manual control. So you type in the word auto butcher up here into the line, and then you get the control GUI auto butcher. This click, and then you press enter. Now we have the graphical user interface for the auto butcher menu. This program will butcher animals for you once they exceed a certain threshold numbers wise. It's the best tool that I know of, and it makes sure that your fortress will be supplied with food and your numbers of animals will be kept in check. So it's very simple. You just go here to enable, and the default setting is all races plus new, or you go for only new races if you'd wanted to. But either way, it's a very simple process concept. You see here how many kids of each gender are desired, and once these numbers are going over, bam, the next butcher will receive an order to take care of that. Since we also have a tanner's workshop in the vicinity, it's all golden. That's why I said these belong together. So, this is, in its basics, all you need to know to keep your livestock happy and the product flowing. Without the auto butcher, I personally find it extremely tedious to keep everything here under control. Animals will be brought by your immigrants, or you can buy them from trade caravans. We're going to cover the topic of trading quite soon, because it's already late summer, and in the early fall we're going to get a visit from the merchants. Altogether, animals can also be adopted as a pet for your dwarves. This makes them no longer able to be butchered, but also it gives this dwarf a pet which will be positive for his mood. I have heard of very unhappy dwarves that are happier with their kittens, for example. There are animals which you can't open up for adoption. Cats. Cats choose their owners by themselves, or rather, they own a dwarf. It's the exact wording of the game, I'm not making this up. Either way, this is one thing, and the other thing which is interesting to know, you can gild your animals, which means you destroy their reproductive organs. Applicable to male specimen. Anyways, this is a way to keep the animals without destroying them. Also a way if you want to not use auto butcher in this regard. What's left to say is cats should be always kept in your fortress out of the reason that they kill vermin. Vermin that will eat your stuff in your stockpiles can be killed off with cats. That's why cats are a very useful livestock of sorts. I shy away from using the word livestock, and so are dogs. Dogs have the quality that you can put a rope or chain into the ground, and then you can, let's do this here, and then you can use the rope to assign an animal to it. If you assign a dog to it, this dog will be on guard here at this point. This can be used to spot stealthy enemies. If you put enough dogs into a corridor, they will pretty much spot out any stealth creature trying to enter your base hidden. That's one of the top-notch quality things of your dogs. So therefore, dogs are really cool. Now, what's left to say? Livestock is pretty much very samey, except for milk-giving or wool-giving livestock or egg-giving livestock. Oh, I keep forgetting these. I'm very, very sorry about that. Where are they? I forget about them so thoroughly that I always forget that egg boxes exist. But here, once you have produced nest boxes, you can also put the your chicken will produce, or any egg-laying specimen will produce egg that your dwarfs can collect. Ha! Or once I managed to keep it in my head. So, I hope this summary here helps you to understand how to handle your animals. One last word of advice: whenever there's a new flock of immigrants happening to hit your town, check at the pasture of if all grazing animals are assigned to the pasture, because they will otherwise die. That's the only thing that I just wanted to add. So, thanks for watching, y'all. Drop me a comment below, leave me a like, leave me a subscribe. Check out, like I said initially, the description box link for the entirety of the playlist if you want to see more. Special thanks go out to all the supporters of Ic0n Gaming. I deeply appreciate you guys. And of course, a big thanks to you for watching this video up until the very end. Hope to see you on the next one as well. Bye bye.